So let's create some questions to get it. Here we're going to work on creating questions, begin the process of adding this in the planner, and then we'll have exercises to practice some of this stuff. So let me give you an example how to create a thought-provoking, insightful question that gets people to look at you and say, wow, that was a great question. Where have you been my whole life? All right, so let me give you an example. Look up here. The first thing is we've kind of laid this framework out, this model, and we can begin with something as simple as a question. The question is, what, who, when, where, why, how. So let's begin with a basic question. Let's go to the next question. Let's change the question. Let's add a perspective to the question. Perspective is, what are the most important qualities of a supplier for you personally? You notice that? Very different response, because now all of a sudden it's personal. That's one of the stay fits. For you personally, Tanya, what are the most important qualities of a supplier? Someone I can trust, someone who's there when I need them, someone who I can rely on, someone who really thinks of me and is proactive and takes care of the things I've got, someone who doesn't make me chase them. So now you're going to tell me all these things that affect your job, that make it hard for you, that suppliers kind of put on you. Now you're going to share that with me. All I did was I just changed the perspective of the same question, changed the perspective, very different answer.
Well, it also forced them not to be in a stock response.
That's right.
Very common.
Yep. That's great. That's also what it did, is it, a common question gives a common response. Right? An uncommon question creates an uncommon response and you get more insight. Now let's go a little further. I'm going to ask the same question, but I'm going to put a topic on it. Same question. Let's go to, Tanya, as you consider your best vendors, what are the 2 to 3 most important qualities of a supplier that provide value to you from a day-to-day perspective? So, same question. The second time we added a perspective, it changed the meaning of the question. The third time we added a topic, it changed the meaning of the question completely. So now think of it this way. I'm saying, Tanya, as you think about your top 2 to 3 suppliers, okay? Right? The first thing I do by setting the topic is I frame where her mind goes. So now she's thinking, oh, my top 2 or 3 suppliers. I hope she's thinking about me, but if she's not, I'd like to know who she's thinking about and what it is she's thinking about. So right away her mind is going to, oh, my top 2 or 3 suppliers. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now, what are the 2 to 3 things that they do that are really important to you from a day-to-day perspective? Now you're going to start thinking top suppliers, top things they do. You are now going to give me a very specific answer, right? That if I were willing to act on that answer, I've got the solution, I've got the key to knowing how to become one of those top 2 or 3 suppliers.
Well, I think you also get more of an insight of your competitor at that point, too.
Because you can tell, based on the response, who they're talking about, can't you? Did you have to ask who the competitor was to understand who they were?
Probably told you who your competitor was.
Bingo. That's the power of insightful questioning. You get answers that you want without asking the question awkwardly or directly. The question is, I want to know how I can become one of your top 2 or 3 suppliers. That's the question, isn't it? But the way I asked it, I found out who my competition is, what they do well, what I need to do, what you value. I just found out answers to about 5 or 6 different questions with one question. So now you take the same question, right? You say, so as you think of us in the context of the same as your top 2 or 3, what are some of the things that we're not doing that we should be doing? And now you have more of an answer. So what I meant, Tanya, was that this is kind of the 3 components. That's as far as you want to go. But you can switch all those to get different answers. And now, look what happens. If you take this model, I can now come up with hundreds of questions that are all unique sounding, but they all follow the same pattern, and they all give you the answers you're looking for. So for instance, I can say, put this up here and say, when you look at, pick a topic, from a day-to-day perspective, what do you value most? I go, boom, boom, boom. Now I can go to the next thing and just change the components and say, considering, pick a topic, personally, why is that so important to you? Or personally, Why do you make the decision that way and how it impacts you? I go to the next thing. Say, okay, with regards to the topic, from an economic perspective, how does that impact your overall cost structure and competition and competitive situation in the marketplace? You see, once you got the model, how fast and how easy you can create different questions that are all insightful, all direct the conversation, and give you the information you're looking for. And that's what these questions do. They take them into the path you want to take them in to get the information you need that you can provide the greatest value to that customer. Because you know how to do that and where to do it. Now, any math majors in the room? Great. You know, if you had a framework, which is how you frame the question, then you have a topic, and then you have perspectives, and then you have all those questions. How many different questions can you come up with if you've got 6 frames, 6 topics, 6 perspectives, and 6 questions? How many different kinds of questions can you come up with? Math major? What's the formula for that? 6 to the 4th. What is that? So let's just say 6 to the 4th. How many questions is that? A lot. That's the right answer. A lot for the salespeople in the room. The answer is that's a lot. How many good questions do you need to build trust with somebody and really begin the dialogue? 2 to 3. We have just laid out a model that very easily you can create hundreds and hundreds of unique questions. All you need to do is come up with 2 or 3 for every meeting. And sometimes you can start with the same 2 or 3 and then evolve into another one and kind of take a leap of faith and go to a 4th one. And you've got a model that can create as many questions as you need. After you get good at it, it'll just kind of come off the top of your head. But all you need are 2 or 3 good ones to make a positive, strong impression on any dialogue, phone or in person. Really is a very, very powerful way of asking questions. But like anything else, if it's new and different, it's going to take a little bit of time to get comfortable to do it. So we're going to be together for the next 6 to 8 weeks until we get comfortable doing this, because it's going to separate you and differentiate you from every other salesperson calling on your account. This is about you as an individual that will raise your income power just by asking better, deeper, more insightful questions. That's a decision you all have to make as individuals. Am I willing to commit a certain amount of time for the next 6 or 8 weeks until I master the skill and the art of asking deep, thought-provoking questions to build trust and credibility with my customers?